Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be my second part of my movies. So let's get started with the first one. This one I normally wouldn't get in the store. I'm not really into cartoon kind of stuff like this, but this is from the studio that brought you Happy Feet. This is Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. This one I saw the trailer for, and it featured a song by 30 Seconds to Mars called Kings and Queens. And I know this is based on a book series. I haven't read it, but I did watch the movie and I really liked it. I was really surprised by the graphics and how good that they made it. So this is like a family-friendly kind of movie. So if you're into stuff like that, this movie's for you. Alright, so here's the next one. This is Pan's Labyrinth. This one is on the same altar of high fantasy as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I remember watching it. This one tells a story about a little girl. She's always into like the fairy tales and all that, and her mom tells her that it's just a fake world, it's all in the books. And she discovers that not to be true. So what ends up happening is that she ends up meeting these real life fantasy characters. It's kind of based on the god Pan and what he tries to do for her to save her mother, because she's dying of something. I don't want to say what it is, so I don't want to ruin it for you. He helps to save her and shows her mother that this world is real, and she discovers it for herself, but nobody will believe her. So this is a real good movie. It did remind me of like the Lord of the Rings in a way, and also like other stories that I've heard before, and it's just like a childhood like kind of fantasy come to life. So this is a great movie, and it's all in Spanish, so if you know Spanish, this one's good, but if you don't, it's still good. So here's another Freddie Highmore movie that I own. This one's actually based off a book series. I didn't know like at the time, but this was a really good movie when I first saw it, and I still like it too. This is the Spiderwick Chronicles. And it just tells the story of a young person's fantasies coming to life in this whole new world that they only know exists in their mind and in the storybooks, but it actually comes to life, and he finds this world through this book that he finds in this house that he goes to live in. And he doesn't want to move from his older house in the city, and he moves out into the country, and this is where they find this house. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a really good movie. So here's my last Freddie Highmore movie. This is Arthur and the Invisibles. This one brings actors together that normally wouldn't be together in a movie. This one not only has Freddie Highmore, but it has Madonna, Snoop Dogg, David Bowie, and Mia Farrow. It's really weird to see them as characters. It's just another fantasy movie, and he finds this other world that his grandpa told him about that was real. And his grandma always said that he went looking for it one day and never found it, and also never came back. But when Arthur goes and finds this, Freddie Highmore's character, this whole new world, he comes back and tells them that it is real, and they've been looking for these jewels, and he was supposed to come back and bring something back from the land that he found, and it never happened. His uncle actually stayed there, and he's actually one of the characters in the story. Arthur does come back out of the world and tells him that it's real. But this is one of the few fantasy movies that I do like. So here's one of my Brendan Fraser movies. This is Journey to the Center of the Earth. This is actually based on the book that was written many years ago. I haven't read it yet, and I would like to read it. I like how they portrayed every place that they go to. The colors are really neat in this movie too. It's just another Brendan Fraser movie. It's real good, and you'll see another one coming up here real soon. Now here's a real good one. This is The Prestige. This is with Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Scarlett Johansson, and David Bowie, which I had no idea. I have to go back and watch this one again. I didn't really catch him the first time, but this one and another movie that I'm going to show you right now are kind of the same kind of story, and it actually makes you pay attention throughout the whole movie to see what's happening. I never knew a movie to do this, but it's really interesting how they can put everything together and bring it all full circle. It's really neat. So these are just based on magic and illusion. So that brings me to The Prestige, and now I'm going to show you the next one. This is The Illusionist. So this movie and The Prestige are kind of almost the same thing. They make you pay attention throughout the whole movie. Like, stuff happens in between that you don't really notice. You just kind of watch it for what it is, and you don't really pay attention until they reveal all this stuff at the end. It's a really cool movie. This one kind of takes you back to that time and realize how much movies have changed over the years, and how story has been lost throughout every single movie that there is nowadays, because it's all just action and it's too fast. I miss the story of a lot of movies, and I think that makes a great movie. So this is The Illusionist, and this is from the producers of Crash and Sideways. I do own Crash, and you'll see it like a couple of movies from now. So here's a movie that I like watching every once in a while. This one I think is based on a book, I'm not too sure. This is from the directors of The Bourne Identity and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which you've seen already. And The Bourne Identity, I have it. I'll be showing you on my third video. Jumper is one of my favorites to watch. I like the world of story that they put it in. And you're able to see a bunch of different places. You'll see Japan, Egypt, and then the real world, and the world that he jumps into, and how he realizes he has this power he never knew he had. And I think it's like we always visualize something that we've always wanted, and what he has, he can actually go there and he can get away from it all. But he realizes that doing all this is just getting him in more trouble, but he has to keep himself hidden from all these people that are trying to chase him down. In the end, he meets this one guy who he didn't know at the time, but he has this same power, being a jumper, that he can go and bounce to like many different cities, states, whatever. I think this would be pretty cool for any traveler, anybody who likes traveling. This is a great movie. And this also features that girl from Twilight. I didn't want to talk about that, but she's featured at the end. She has a small cameo in this movie. So here's a movie that is also a book. This is The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson and the Olympians. What to say about this movie? I did read the book. The book is kind of interesting, but the movie kind of screws up the book, and it's not that good. It does show some of the things that do happen in the book, but then there's some mistakes that they changed in this movie, which I just think that they should have kept it like it is and not have changed it. So if you're a fan of Percy Jackson, I suggest you read the book first and then you see the movie, because it's so much better. And by the way, Sea of Monsters is actually coming out pretty soon. It was in the theaters, so if you've seen it already, there's a book for it. So there's actually 5 different books. If you read them all, you'll know the world of story and where Percy Jackson. So if you read the books, you'll know the world of story, and you'll know how everything happens. And I think it's a great series overall. So here's The Ugly Truth. This is with Gerard Butler and Katherine Heigl. What this movie is about is Katherine Heigl's character finds Gerard's character on TV by accident when her cat steps on the TV remote. She stays there watching it because she can't believe all the stuff that he's saying. She ends up getting a hold of him at her work of all places, because she works at a TV studio, and he ends up being the guest on the show, and she just can't believe like what a messed up kind of screwball he is. And he's real funny, and he talks about a love topic. I don't want to say what it is, but they end up putting together this show for him called The Ugly Truth. So this is not only my first movie of Gerard Butler, but he was also in the first Tomb Raider, and this is pretty much my third one, because I do have his Dracula 2000, which was really good. It's not on my shelf because it's a VHS. He was not actually famous at the time, but his name is not even on the front cover. That's how small he was back then. But I do respect his work. That's why I have this one, Tomb Raider and Dracula 2000, and I do have another one coming up real soon. So you're gonna see that right here. So here's another movie that reminds me of The Ugly Truth. This is The Bounty Hunter, also with Gerard Butler and Jennifer Aniston. I don't really care for Jennifer Aniston. A lot of guys do, but I personally like Angelina Jolie better. This one is real funny. Like, he likes to play with her in a way, and it's kind of like the other one too. And he just kind of has this same character in him that just makes him who he is, and they end up actually kind of chasing after each other after they've been married for so many years, and they had broken up, and by the end of the movie they end up getting back together. And so they kind of play on each other. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship, but